French Montana isn't just dropping hits, he might be dropping secrets. Because the whispers say he's not only tied to Diddy's freakoff scandal, he's allegedly marrying into Dubai royalty to escape the fallout. And if that's true, then French isn't running from gossip, he's running for survival. And real quick, if you want the tea before it hits the blogs, make sure you hit that subscribe and turn on the bell, because what's coming next is even wilder. And that's where the tea starts boiling. Because before anyone even mentioned Dubai, the streets were already buzzing with receipts linking French Montana straight to Diddy's darkest secrets. And once Cat Williams opened his mouth, that's when the allegations got impossible to ignore. French Montana has always been around Diddy, but lately the rumors connecting him to Diddy's freak-off lifestyle have been getting way too loud to ignore. It started with whispers, but then Cat Williams came out swinging, straight up claiming French wasn't just an innocent bystander, he was part of the circus. Cat said it plain. The same freak-off parties that ruined other artists' careers were the exact ones French signed up for. And in the industry, when Cat Williams talks, people listen, because he's been calling out Hollywood's darkest secrets for years, and receipts have a way of backing him up later. But the mess didn't stop there. Producers and insiders began chiming in, accusing Diddy of rewarding artists who played along and blackballing those who didn't. And with French being one of Diddy's most loyal protégés, the connection was too obvious for fans not to question. Still, rumors are rumors until a video drops. And when footage of French and Diddy went viral, shirtless, celebrating each other's birthdays like it was a second honeymoon.
Happy birthday to you.
Thank you.
This is a special birthday for both of us.
Yeah.
The internet went wild. Suddenly, the allegations didn't look so far-fetched anymore. And if Cat's words weren't enough to light a fire, the video was the gasoline. Because once fans saw French and Diddy together, shirtless, celebrating like it was more than just a birthday, suddenly the whispers became receipts. And that's when the internet exploded. The video that lit up social media wasn't just a casual birthday clip, it was a whole scene. French was shirtless, smiling like it was his wedding day, while Diddy, looking worn down in a robe, leaned in and called it a special day for both of us. Now, fans didn't let that slide. People weren't watching a birthday party, they were watching what looked like two men celebrating something way deeper. The body language, the timing, the words, it all screamed there was more going on than cake and candles. And once the video went viral, the internet had a field day. Memes started flying. Some called it proof of Cat Williams' claims, others said it was Diddy passing the torch to his chosen one. Either way, the clip turned speculation into fuel, and French's name was suddenly tied tighter than ever to the freak-off allegations. But here's the thing, the video was just the appetizer. Because behind the scenes, producers and insiders started whispering about how Diddy really kept his empire alive, and the stories weren't about music. They were about what went down when the cameras weren't rolling. Here's where the whispers get dark. Multiple producers started stepping forward, claiming Diddy's empire wasn't just built on music deals, it was built on freak-offs. They say artists who played along got the rewards, contracts, radio spins, and a seat at the table. But the ones who refused? Blackballed. Careers stalled. Gone before they even had a chance. And then Cat Williams dropped the bombshell, saying he himself turned down a $50 million offer just to avoid being part of Diddy's twisted games. Think about that. Walking away from life-changing money just to keep your soul clean. So when fans looked at French, they couldn't help but connect the dots. He had deals lined up with Jay-Z, Kanye, even Rick Ross, huge opportunities on the table. And yet he chose Diddy. Out of everyone in the game, he picked the man now accused of running the freak-off machine. And once that clicked, people started asking the question French never wanted to hear. What exactly did he trade for his spot on Diddy's team? And that's the question that still haunts him. Because when you look at the deal French made, it's clear it wasn't just about music, it was about loyalty. And that loyalty, it came with a price. French Montana wasn't just some newcomer desperate for a shot. By the time the labels came knocking, he had already built a buzz. The streets knew his name, the mixtapes were fire, and the cosigns were rolling in. Jay-Z wanted him on Rock Nation. Kanye had his eye on him. Rick Ross was pushing to sign him to Maybach Music. These weren't small offers, these were doors to empires. And yet, out of all the options, French chose Diddy. On paper, it made no sense. Jay-Z could have given him the blueprint. Kanye could have given him artistry. Ross could have given him a machine. But Diddy was already carrying baggage, whispers of shady contracts, artists vanishing after one album, and the freak-off rumors that had been circling for years. That's why the industry couldn't stop talking. If French passed on powerhouses like Jay and Ye, what exactly was Diddy promising that the others couldn't? Was it money? Was it influence? Or was it something far darker? Access to the inner circle that only came if you played the game his way. Because here's the thing, once French signed with Diddy, the loyalty was undeniable. He wasn't just another artist on the roster, he was glued to Diddy's side. Red carpets, parties, private trips, even family events. It looked less like a business deal and more like a pact. And that's when fans started to piece it together. Maybe the contract wasn't about music at all. Maybe it was about loyalty, the kind you can't buy, the kind that comes with strings attached, the kind that explains why French's name always seems to surface when people whisper about Diddy's freakoffs. But here's where the plot twists. Because while French was solidifying his spot under Diddy in the States, he was also plotting something much bigger overseas. And it had nothing to do with mixtapes or Billboard charts. It had everything to do with survival. And that's where Dubai comes in. Because the whispers say French isn't just chasing fame anymore, he's chasing protection. And the way he's doing it? By marrying into royalty. Now here's where the story turns from messy gossip into an international scandal. French Montana isn't just linked to Diddy's freakoff drama in the States. The whispers say he's securing a whole new life overseas. How? By allegedly locking down a marriage with Dubai royalty. The name being thrown around is Princess Shikamara, billion-dollar family, royal influence. The type of connection that doesn't just elevate your status, it shields you. Because if you're married into a royal bloodline, US investigators can't just knock on your door the same way they do with everyone else. You're protected. And that protection is exactly what fans think French is chasing. Now let's keep it real. If this was just about love, people would shrug it off. Rappers date models, influencers, even foreign socialites all the time. But this isn't just a romance. This is marriage into one of the wealthiest and most powerful families in the world. And the timing couldn't be more suspicious. While Diddy's empire is crumbling under allegations, French is suddenly aligning himself with royalty, almost like he's planning for a future where he's not welcome back in the States. Think about the benefits. Dubai is one of the richest playgrounds on the planet. You've got money, luxury, endless protection from the royal family's influence. And for French, who's been dragged into conversations about freakoffs and blackmail, that kind of shield isn't just attractive, it's survival. And fans notice the flex. Private jets, lavish trips to Dubai, French suddenly showing up at elite events far outside the usual hip-hop circuit. On Instagram, the optics looked like success. But to people who follow the tea, it looked like a calculated move, building a safety net before the storm hits. And here's where it gets even deeper. Insiders are whispering this isn't a love story at all. It's a contract. A strategic arrangement that gives French immunity overseas, while giving the royal family a connection to US entertainment. A deal, not a romance. Because let's be honest, French has never been known for low-key relationships. His history is loud, public romances, flashy headlines, paparazzi catching him out with some of the biggest names in the industry. But this is quiet, controlled, almost too perfect, which is exactly why fans don't buy the fairy tale. So now the question isn't just whether French loves this princess, it's whether he's using her crown as a shield. Because if the feds are building a case, if Diddy's world comes crashing down, French doesn't want to be standing in the middle of it. He wants to be untouchable, and marrying into Dubai royalty might be his golden parachute, his ultimate escape plan, the move that ensures when Diddy burns, French walks away untouched. But here's the thing, parachutes don't always open. Because if the feds really have receipts, even a royal marriage might not be enough to save him. And that's when the fallout gets dangerous. This is where things get dangerous, because a royal marriage might sound like the ultimate shield, but what if the parachute doesn't open? Here's the reality. If the feds are really building a case against Diddy, anyone tied to him is fair game. And French? He's not just tied, his name has been circling in the same sentences for months. If prosecutors can connect even a single dot between French and Diddy's alleged freak-off empire, a wedding ring in Dubai won't stop subpoenas from flying. Think about it. You can live in luxury, post jet photos, and rub shoulders with royalty all day, but if the US decides you're part of the bigger scandal, they'll wait, they'll build, and when they're ready, they'll strike. Because no amount of money, no amount of connections, no crown in the world can fully erase a paper trail. And that's what makes French's position so terrifying. On one hand, he's got the protection of a billion-dollar family. On the other, he's got his name tied to one of the messiest scandals hip-hop has ever seen. If the shield holds, he walks free. If it cracks, he becomes the next target. And fans are already speculating. Why the sudden pivot to Dubai? Why the quiet romance when every other relationship he's had has been loud and messy? Why now, while Diddy's walls are collapsing? It's giving one thing, survival mode. But here's the twist, survival isn't guaranteed. Because the closer investigators get to Diddy, the more likely French's name is to pop up in the paperwork. And once that happens, it won't matter who he's married to. The fallout will be unstoppable. So now the world is watching. not just Diddy's downfall, but whether French Montana's escape plan holds. Because if it doesn't, the crash landing could be brutal. And that's why this saga doesn't just end with French or Diddy. The shockwaves from this mess are already shaking the industry, and the people who thought they were safe might be next. This isn't just about French Montana. This isn't just about Diddy. This is about an entire industry shaking in silence. Because when a scandal this big erupts, it doesn't stop with one man. It spreads. Executives, artists, collaborators. People who thought their names were buried in NDAs and private flights are suddenly nervous. Very nervous. Labels are scrambling. Brands are pulling back. Artists who once bragged about being in Diddy's circle are quietly unfollowing, deleting old photos, pretending the friendship never existed, because nobody wants to be the next name in the headlines. And then there's the whispers, the ones saying French's situation isn't unique, that there are others out there with the same type of deal, the same type of loyalty, the same type of secrets. If French is allegedly running to Dubai for protection, what are the rest of them doing to stay safe? The paranoia is real. Because if investigators dig deeper, if more receipts come out, the fallout won't stop at Diddy's empire. It'll drag in everyone who benefited from it. And that's the nightmare the industry is bracing for right now. Because the truth is, Diddy's case is already changing the rules. Judges are moving faster. Prosecutors are locking down evidence tighter. And the message is loud. Power, money, influence, none of it guarantees safety anymore. And that's why French Montana's story matters so much. Because if he's really marrying into royalty to survive this, then it's not just a scandal, it's a warning, a signal that even the insiders know the walls are closing in. So let's put it all together. Diddy's empire is cracking, piece by piece. French Montana's name keeps floating in the middle of the storm. And now out of nowhere, he's allegedly aligning himself with Dubai royalty, not just for status, but maybe for survival. And that's the detail that has everybody talking. Because let's be honest, marriages don't usually come with this much silence, secrecy and timing that lines up perfectly with one of the biggest scandals in hip-hop. It doesn't feel like romance. It feels like strategy. Think about it. If French really is marrying into a billion-dollar royal family, it gives him protection. It gives him influence. It gives him distance from the mess in the US. And if you're watching the walls close in on your mentor, wouldn't you start building your own safety net? But here's the chilling question. Protection from what? What does French know that the rest of us don't? Is he hearing things behind the scenes that haven't hit the headlines yet? Is he preparing for names to drop, receipts to leak, or charges to spread beyond Diddy's circle? Because you don't just plan a move this big unless you're bracing for something bigger. And that's the part nobody can stop thinking about. Because if French Montana, a chart-topping rapper who had his pick of labels, deals, and mentors, is suddenly looking to royalty for cover, it means the story we've been told isn't the full story. There's another shoe waiting to drop. So here we are, a mogul unraveling, a protege plotting an escape, and an industry holding its breath. And the only thing more shocking than what's already come out is what hasn't been revealed yet. If you've made it this far, you already know this isn't over. Hit that like, smash subscribe, and drop your thoughts in the comments, because the next twist isn't just going to shake French or Diddy. It might pull back the curtain on the entire industry. And when that happens, you'll want to be here first.